I thought my husband's silence was a disability until I heard him threaten a group of men in a perfect, cold voice to protect another woman. To understand the magnitude of this betrayal, you have to know that I married a man everyone believed was mute. At our wedding, his best friend Kathleen spoke his vows for him. When his mother verbally abused me, calling me worthless, he stood by in silent, red-faced shame. Even when Kathleen accidentally pushed me down the stairs, causing me to miscarry our child on the bloody floor, he could only make strangled, desperate noises of helplessness. I swallowed the lie that his silence was his burden until the company gala shattered everything. I left the party early and stumbled upon him in the stairwell, shielding Kathleen from some drunken men. That's when I heard it, a voice clear as a bell, warning them to back off or disappear from the city. Kathleen looked up at him with adoration, cooing about his heroism, but the moment he turned and saw my ashen face, the voice vanished, and he reverted to the mute, panicked husband. I thought I knew. His silence wasn't a medical condition. It was a choice. His voice existed, but only to protect her, never me. I ripped my hand away from Kathleen's feigned concern and ignored Liam's frantic sign language, locking myself in the bedroom back home. He scratched at the door, or signal for urgency, but I refused to open it. Hours later, he was gone. Kathleen bombarded my phone with texts, claiming he was distraught and missing, only to slip in that her cat was sick and she was scared. The next morning, his mother called to scold me for upsetting her mute son, revealing he had spent the night at Kathleen's house. She demanded I go pick him up and apologize. Instead, I hung up and hired a private investigator to dig into the real history between Liam Vance and Kathleen Bell, determined to find out exactly how long I had been the punchline of their twisted joke. He begged me not to leave with frantic hand signals, his eyes wide with the same innocent panic he used to manipulate everyone. But the shattered emerald bracelet on the floor said everything I no longer needed to. To understand why I destroyed the last symbol of our marriage, you have to see the scene that unfolded in my living room. Liam finally returned home, not with an apology, but with an entourage. Kathleen trailed behind him, holding a container of homemade soup, wearing a smile of sickening innocence, while his mother immediately launched into a tirade about how thoughtful Kathleen was compared to my failure as a wife. Liam stood there, head bowed, playing the role of the mute, helpless victim perfectly. I didn't argue. I simply walked to the table and handed him a document, demanding he sign it. His mother snatched it, shrieking that Vance men don't divorce, but Liam, desperate to appease me and end the conflict, quickly signed his name at the bottom. He looked up with those wide, pleading eyes, begging me not to be mad anymore. But the peace didn't last. Kathleen spotted the emerald bracelet on my wrist, his engagement gift to me, and whined that she had never received something so beautiful. Without missing a beat, Liam wrote a note asking me to let Kathleen borrow my engagement bracelet for a party. That was the moment my heart turned to dust. I unclasped the bracelet, looked him dead in the eye, and smashed it against the marble floor. The room exploded in chaos. His mother screamed, Kathleen hid behind him like a frightened child, and Liam stood frozen in disbelief. I told them calmly that since it was broken, no one could have it. I packed my bags and walked out, ignoring his desperate signing and his mother's insults. He blocked the door, begging for forgiveness, but when I asked if his apology could bring back our dead child, he flinched as if struck. I left him standing in the wreckage of our marriage. Days later, my investigator handed me a file that revealed the final twist. Liam wasn't born mute. He had lost his voice temporarily at age 10, but regained it. He had just chosen to keep playing the role because of the attention it garnered, especially from Kathleen. He had spent 20 years pretending to be mute, letting me suffer in silence, but the moment I scratched his mistress's face, he suddenly found his voice to scream at me. To understand how my husband's lifelong disability turned out to be a cruel long con, you have to rewind to the evidence I uncovered. The private investigator handed me a recording that shattered my reality. Kathleen, his best friend, was bragging to a confidante that Liam wasn't really mute. He had regained his voice after a childhood illness, but chose to stay silent because it made him special and allowed him to ignore people who didn't matter. People like me. I was nothing more than a tool for his family business, and the baby I lost was just an inconvenience they were glad to be rid of. Armed with this knowledge, I watched his charade unravel. Kathleen called me sobbing, begging me to intervene with Liam after she broke an antique vase. I told her to get on her knees and beg him, just like I had begged for my baby's life, and hung up. When Liam showed up at my door with a peace offering cake, frantically signing excuses for Kathleen's behavior, I slammed the door in his face. The war escalated that night. I received a photo from an unknown number showing my dead baby's keepsakes. Tiny clothes, knitted sweaters, dumped by a trash can and covered in filth captioned, "Eyesores belong in the trash." I drove to our old house in a blind rage and found the nursery ransacked. The little wooden horse I carved snapped in 2 Liam and Kathleen arrived moments later, feigning shock. When Liam suggested we could just buy new ones, something inside me snapped. I hurled the broken wooden horse at Kathleen, scratching her cheek. She screamed, hiding behind him, and that's when it happened. Liam, the man who couldn't say his vows or defend me from his mother, wrapped his arms around her and spoke. His voice was clear, cold, and razor-sharp as he delivered the ultimate betrayal. Apologize to Kathleen now. Welcome to share your feelings in the comment section. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more story content, please check out the other videos on my channel.